Third time was the charm for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and thank God for that, because the Leafs are now on a 4-game win streak, and they take down the Columbus Blue Jackets. Oh, hold on, let me take that back. The Leafs shut out the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-0 in Toronto, and they salvage the 3-game set over the Columbus Blue Jackets, and what a fun, entertaining game to watch. I mean, this game was a literal game that it was actually pretty fun. Technically, because well, you're playing against the Columbus Blue Jackets, where you lost the last 2 games against them. One in October on the second night of a back-to-back, where the Leafs just got belt to, you know what, BTA'd by the Jackets 6-2, which was embarrassing, and I didn't think that was deserved. That the Leafs deserved to get destroyed by the Jackets. The second one was the Adam Fantilli hat trick, or once again, Leafs lost 5-1 to the Jackets on next gen night because we had Dennis Hildeby, and now with Anthony Stolarz, it's official. We beat the Jackets and we didn't get swept by them. The only problem was we don't have Jake McCabe and David Kampf. So what do we do in the process? We bring in Philippe Myers and Pontus Holmberg. Well, we bring back Nick Robertson, where he, of course, had a late scratch because of penalty-wise. You know what happened against San Jose, right? Exactly. So now coming in this game, you gotta defeat the Blue Jackets, whom in this case the Blue Jackets are fighting for their playoff lives, and the Leafs thankfully didn't get swept by them, or we would have had a serious issue. So let's get started with the game. The first period of the game, well, it was a close, tightly contested game in the first period. It was close because both players on the Leafs side and the Jackets side had their scoring opportunities. The Leafs had their shot too. They had a golden opportunity to score, but couldn't capitalize it because of Elvis Merzlikins, whom is a very good goaltender. And let's not forget, even when the Leafs had a shorthanded goal, Mitch Marner was on a breakaway and he didn't even get the shot off on time. He didn't even score on the shorty he didn't get the goal because of Merzlikins stopping the goal. So what did we do in the process? Well, technically, we did something. We did something here because in that one goal after that, penalty was done by Scott Lockton, where he got called for cross-check. The Leafs, of course, take advantage. They get the turnover from Elvis Merzlikins, where Merzlikins fumbled the puck. He thought he was going to pass over to Columbus, but he did the silly thing. He passes over to Pontus Holmberg, and Holmberg to Nick Robertson, and he scores. It's 1-0 Leafs. Coming back from the lineup after getting scratched. I mean, you had Matthew Knies having to do the Michigan, but he was so close, man. So close to having Michigan. But Elvis Merzlikins says, yeet, not in my house. Second period rolls around, okay. It was 1-0 Leafs in the first period. The second period rolls around, you gotta fight. You know who was fighting? Sean Kay and Steven Lorentz. And it was actually in the crease within this 6 minutes into the second period. Elvis Merzlikins was trying to have the puck, trying to stop trying to do his thing. But guess what? Steven Lorentz and Sean Kay go fighting head to head, and it's like, okay, in the crease? Are you kidding me? That's literally like the goaltender spot, and where there's a fight at the goaltender crease. Like, holy crap! Why didn't anyone call a penalty? I'll never know. But it's 5 minutes for my 5-minute major for fighting for them. So that's that. But, however, Max Domi, of course, creates a turnover, which leads to Nick Robertson scoring. It's 2-0 Leafs. At the end of the second, everything's going pretty well. Third period rolls around. It was like a bonanza, where the Leafs scored not 1, not 2, but 3 goals. And guess who scored them all? Yep, the first one to make it 3-0 was William Nylander, and it's 3-0 Leafs. All right, good stuff there. the second turnaround where of course, Matthew Nyes and another Columbus player gets called for roughing, and it didn't look like it was actually good, but the Leafs were able to capitalize on the 4-on-4 where William Nylander scores 4-0 Leafs. So Nylander does it again, and guess who scores again? Well, before the 5-0 goal, there was another fight between Matthias Olivier and Simon Benoit, and it was a weak fight. It was like a dance, nothing. Really? That's just weak fighting. But they would call for 5 minutes on fighting anyway. But luckily, even on the delayed penalty called on Columbus, Austin Matthews roofs the puck, and that's how he ends the game. Well, that puts the game away. It's 5-0 Leafs. And Anthony Stolarz gets his second shutout as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs and his 10th career shutout in his career. 10th career shutout. I mean, thank God, because that was kind of fun. Stolie was dialed in, man. He stopped every shot from almost a majority of players. Stopped it from you know whom, Sean Monahan, Matthias Olivier, almost anybody you can think of in that Columbus zone, in that Columbus team. That team right now is in crisis mode, trying to fight for their playoff lives. And the Leafs did just that to avoid their chances of making it in the playoffs. And I think they might get eliminated from the playoffs at this point because, yeah, you're not doing enough to save your life. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are just going on a downhill after what happened on Thursday, where they got destroyed 7-4 to the Colorado Avalanche, whom of course just lost 5-4 to the St. Louis Blues, who was on a 12-game heater. And surprisingly, they're good. And I'm happy that we won. So why didn't the Leafs have something like this in their last 2 games against Columbus? Well, it's because of Dennis Hildeby. He got lit up like a Christmas ornament, and of course, it was 6-5, 6-2 in Columbus, where the Leafs got belt to butt by the Jackets 6-2, and then the Adam Fantilli hat trick was the 5-1 game. And I'm not saying it was undeserved. He deserved that. Mad respect to that, but it was a little too late for that. I didn't say it was undeserved. I was just frustrated and pissed off with the Leafs losing and getting blown out by the Jackets. And now, third time was the charm for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They take down the Columbus Blue Jackets. And you know what? At least we didn't get swept by the Jackets. Otherwise, we're going to have some serious issues. But thank God, Leafs get the 2 points they need. And, well, technically, they were 3 up. Now they're 5 up on the... I believe they're 5 up on the Jacket. No, they're up in the standings. They're first place in the Atlantic Division. 5 points up, maybe 7, maybe more on the Tampa Bay Lightning and those Florida Frauds. So I think, you know what, Stolie, he deserved that shutout, and at least I can put a smile on my face and say that was a fun game to watch. But anyways, I think that's it for this video. The next game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they head to Sunrise, Florida on Tuesday night, where the Leafs take on the Florida Frauds, whom are on a 4-game losing streak. Everything is finally going to plan in my favor. Finally, the Panthers are finally going on a downfall, and they're showing their true potential colors. That the Panthers are nothing more than a fraudulent team. No wonder why they're the defending champs, but they're still undeserved to me. Alrighty, let's keep the winning streak going, and let's avoid the Panthers from getting first place in the Atlantic Division, because they may be the Florida Panthers, but they're not. They're the frauds I can remember as the most fraudulent, undeserving champions in recent memory, and the most fraudulent team to ever win the Stanley Cup, and that is the Florida Panthers. All right, let's just keep this win streak going. Let's make it a 5-game win. Let's make it a 5-game win streak. Let's keep this momentum going. Let's go, Leafs! Yeah!